If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
Hello and welcome to 1,000 Natural Shocks, A Bad with Money podcast. I'm your host, Gabe Dunn. And what a joyful conversation we're having today. We are going to be talking to Kalvin Byrd, who is a trans man advocate for reproductive health care. It's a lot more than that, and he will explain it to you. But Kalvin and I met at a trans man event, and just his energy and his commitment to trans men and commitment to healthcare is so inspiring. But again, I'm not explaining it correctly. It's so much more than that. So let's hear from him. And I hope that this interview inspires you and makes you smile and also makes you stand up for yourself.
You told a lot of lies about achievement. They called you when they got you to believe it. Thumb and finger held to their foreheads in an L shape, trapped in a capitalist hellscape. Let's fight back and have some talks about class and the massive cost of the disastrous plots of fascists and Nazis, fat cats and fogs. It's 1,000 Natural Shocks, A Bad with Money podcast.
Hello and welcome to 1,000 Natural Shocks, a show about how everything sucks. I'm your host, Gabe Dunn, and with me today is Kalvin Byrd. Can you tell my audience who you are and what you do?
Yeah, of course. My name is Kalvin. I'm a community leader. I'm currently located in Las Vegas. I'm also the founder of Uncloak. I like to say that I'm a community leader with focusing on reproductive justice with a super focus on trans men. My nonprofit is Uncloak, and it focuses on healthcare access and social empowerment.
So you were talking about this a bit at an event that we were both at for trans men.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded so fascinating because there were so many different angles to it. So can you talk about, I guess let's start with how you started this and why.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so I'm 34 right now. I started transitioning when I was 19, and I literally thought I was the only trans man on earth. And I know that sounds really, really crazy, but how I grew up, it wasn't forbid, like LGBT material or the topic. It wasn't forbid, but we literally just didn't talk about it. So I had no knowledge. I didn't even know what a lesbian was until I was 15 and came to Vegas because I'm from California originally. How I even found out that trans men existed was I was on the dark side of YouTube because I'm a weirdo. And so I seen FTM and I said, what is that? Clicked on it and I saw this big buff guy shadowboxing. And then I Googled what it was and I had woke my partner up at the time and was like, babe, I'm one of those. And so she helped me find a group literally the same week, got on testosterone the same week and got my top surgery. 8 months later, I worked 100 hours a week and raised the money because medical insurance didn't cover that type of stuff back when. I guess I'm old enough to say back when now. It's crazy.
I'm 37 and I feel that as well. I watch those Taco Bell commercials that are selling Y2K nostalgia and I'm like, I have to go.
Oh my God. Yeah. I could do a whole podcast on how I'm just figuring out I'm old. It's crazy. But when I was transitioning, I was deeply into the lesbian community, got traumatically and violently ripped away from that community. And I literally was by myself. And then the person I was with at the time didn't really know how to handle the situation, but stuck it out as long as they could. But then I ended up by myself. And so for 12 years or so, I literally just went stealth forcefully, really, because I didn't know that there were other trans people that existed. I'm not going to bore you with all the details of my transition, but I seen one other trans man, which ended up being my best friend now. And I had one other trans man that was kind of like a big brother mentor to me. And he started coffee and conversation one time. And so 5 of us came. And they were like, we need to do this again. When there's more trans men out here, we need to do it again. So then eventually it got really big. And I said, let's make this into a business. And they weren't ready at the time. So I said, okay. And my best friend said, I'll do it with you. I think I was just scared to leap by myself. And so my best friend said, I'll do it with you, and literally held my hand through the process. And it just became so big. So how it became national is that a group came to Vegas. And it was about, I don't know, 20, 30 of them. I hosted them the whole weekend, and they were from all over the country. And so they started inviting me to their stuff. And so I did my first big Uncloak event in New York, and they ended up hosting me. And so it just grew and grew and grew. How I got to the healthcare aspect is I started asking guys, what kind of resources did they need when it comes to doctors and just well-being? And I kept hearing, I like to say reproductive system. So they kept saying reproductive. And I said, okay. So what I did was I started guinea pigging doctors to see how they would treat me being just a trans person that's showing up, a trans man that's showing up. And I would get to the doctor and say, hi, my name is Kalvin, and this is what I'm really here for. And so I did that a couple times to get like a network of doctors, and then I put them together so they can pass patients between each other. They can know that they're not by themselves, because we can get into that too, but how they're not by themselves, and literally just created a network of trans men and healthcare providers that were safe for us. And then how many times have you been to the doctor and you were the first trans man they've ever seen?
Yeah. I don't know, but they sure act like it.
Yeah. So my org make sure you're not the first trans man they ever seen. So I go through language with them for months. They end up becoming my friends, actually, which is really crazy. But I go through language. I interact with their staff. I would do the exam with them, especially if it's reproductive and they've never seen a trans man before. And so it just grew, and it just got really big really fast.
So what made you take it into a business? Like, first it was a business to meet up with other trans guys, and then it was a business to see what you could provide for them, because it's like run as a nonprofit.
It's ran as a nonprofit, and it is just those two focuses. So healthcare access, so they can get access to safe doctors and healthcare providers, and social empowerment, because socially, like for instance, my father, I would ask him questions and he said, I would do it for you, but I'm not going to teach you how to do it. And so there's trans men that are vets, that are electricians, that are bike riders, that are tough boys, that are soft boys. And I really create a family dynamic. So we call the older trans guys Trampaw. We have Trunkles, brothers, little brothers, and just create that family dynamic so they can have that male family or that male presence in their life.
And so that's wild that you would go to these doctors and present yourself as like a guinea pig. Like, so you would make an appointment, get in there, and then be like, okay, this is why I wanted to meet with you?
Yes, exactly. Exactly that. Yeah.
It went well?
Yeah, it has. And the reason why I wanted to go that route is because there's so many trans men that need these services, and they're scared to go to the doctors. They're going to get questioned. They're probably going to be the social experiment of the day where people are walking past the room and stuff like that. And my whole thing for Uncloak is to decrease the rates of suicide. And that's a big pusher, like to be on edge, to go to the doctors, for one, because you have to explain your whole situation every single time. And then for somebody to dismiss you, disrespect you, still call you she, still have a million assistants coming in and out the room just to see what's in there. Like, my org makes sure these doctors are vetted, and they always have contact with me. So like, I get text messages sometimes to say, hey, I have this patient that has a situation. What's the best way for me to approach this? Or like, I had a doctor call me and say, hey, I'm doing a presentation for a group of hospitals. Is this good language for me just in case somebody's in the audience? So it's giving access to them. In return, they take care of the guys that I send to them.
How did you find the doctors at first? Like, was it just local, or how did you start finding all these doctors?
Honestly, I just went and seen who accepted my insurance.
What?
Yeah, it was really random, man. It was really, really random, and it's just something I really wanted to do. And so I just did it.
And it was all Vegas, or have you expanded beyond that?
It started out in Vegas. I do virtual. I'm just now tapping into California, and I have doctors in other places, but it's not as hands-on as I would like it to be. It's just like touch and go, really. It's not as hands-on. I don't really like out loud recommend the ones that are outside of Nevada, but
Right.
or outside of the West Coast, really, because I can't see them every day. I can't just pop in their office and see if they're not treating my people well, because I'm not confrontational, but I am always willing to have a conversation to see what the problem was, to like, because these doctors also want to help us, which is the flip side that nobody talks about. Like when there's often times where healthcare providers in general, when they're providing these services openly, they're also put on an island and not invited to certain tables with other doctors that don't agree. So they're also left out of conversation. They're also looked at like with a side eye, and they're fighting for us just as much as we're fighting for this access.
Yeah, can you talk about that a bit? There's a large political aspect to choosing to treat trans people.
Mhm.
Has there been any pushback, or how do you talk to them if they have some reluctance, or how do you incentivize for them if they have some reluctance?
Okay, so with anything, for anything to be stable, you need a foundation. So if a doctor is open to providing care to trans people, and I'm just going to focus on trans men, but to provide care for trans men openly, it's possible that they will be put on an island, right? But say like they have me as a friend now, like they literally say, hey, Kalvin is my friend. I'm going to call him. I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to take care of him, right? For one, that's making us humane to these doctors, to these providers. We're not just names and numbers on a sheet. The next thing is to give them a foundation, put them in touch with other doctors that are dealing with this same thing so they don't feel like they're alone. Also, if their patient is going through, let's say right now I have a great primary care doctor, and they are aware that I worked with a psychologist. And so they see a trans man come in that's kind of down, possibly suicidal. They literally could recommend him, knowing 100% that this person has already been vetted. So that's giving them a foundation. It's giving them a community that cares just as much about them as they do us. And to be honest, we end up calling them like uncles and aunties on top of that. So it's a solid family, you know?
Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. I need the right person with the right background who can move our business forward. If I wanted candidates who match what I'm looking for, I'd trust Indeed-sponsored jobs. I actually found my job on Indeed, and it was so easy to search through what I wanted to do and my skills and find the right place that was looking for exactly what I could offer. Hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post even seen on other sites. Give your job the best chance to be seen with Indeed-sponsored jobs. They help you stand out and hire quality candidates who can drive the results you need. Sponsored jobs boost your posts for quality candidates so you can reach the exact people you want faster. And it makes a big difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs because you reach a bigger pool of quality candidates. Join the 1.6 million companies that sponsor their jobs with Indeed. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. Now with Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/badwithmoney. Just go to Indeed.com/badwithmoney right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/badwithmoney. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Do it the right way with Indeed. So a part of it was also you were talking about at the event needing to have a bigger presence or have more publicity so that these doctors trust you, so that you can approach with more credibility.
Yeah, okay, so everything needs strategy, right? So like at that time, Yes, I wanted to have a bigger presence on social media so doctors are aware that somebody out there like me is willing to talk to them, willing to help them, which is always an ongoing thing. I think at this point, because these ongoing conversations I am having with healthcare providers, they're wanting to be more low key with their
Mm-hmm.
services. And so I'm trying to renew my strategy and move as a person instead of an org. So if they have access,
Wow.
so if they have access to me, I'm still providing those services, but as a person, not an org, everything could fly under the radar.
Wow, that's such a shift, even in the last couple months.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
upsetting. It is kind of a throwback to
Mm-hmm.
undercover and helping each other, and the whole I just did another interview with a friend who's running for office, and it's like a we keep us safe kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to create the spaces for each other and for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're not gonna erase trans people. They're just gonna create more incentive to work within ourselves and people that we like deeply trust,
Mm-hmm.
which probably is maybe what we should have done the whole time.
Yeah, even with the underground stuff, I have a weird outlook with things, I
Nope,
try.
say, what is it?
Okay, so like for me, this is going to sound weird, but I really like struggling. I like struggling. And this is why, because when you come out the other side of that, you see how much power you had. Like me, I like this. My favorite quote is, if the ground don't break, shake it till it cracks. And so if you're stuck in a room or a door closes for you, go out the window. There's no window. Go through the vent. Like I like finding like those weird strategic ways to get things done. That's why I call myself a community leader instead of an activist, because you might not see me on the streets protesting, but I'll be the person that's making the sandwiches. No, I'm just kidding. I'll be the person that, that's
Yeah.
that's making sure everybody's safe and recovered and knows how to get to A, B, and C. Everybody doesn't need to be on the front lines. There has to be leaders in place to make sure people have a place to go and recover. I was going to ask you, I actually wanted to start it off, I think it's tone deaf to ask, how are you? But I do want to ask, how are you in the moment?
How am I in the moment?
In this very moment, right now, how are you showing up?
Yeah, tomorrow is No Kings 2.0. So I'm very tired,
Mm-hmm.
but I am anticipating that. I think I'm in a signal chat that is just booming, and I'm watching it on my phone, but my phone's away now. How about you?
Well, I want to focus on you just a little bit, because we're two different types of activists, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like when I'm a very observant person. I'm very curious all the time. So I'm not. This might turn into an interview about you, but but I want to ask you, when you're out in the street and you come home, what is your aftercare?
Well, it's funny, at the event that we were at, I'm not like a person who would normally draw that much. I just was not like, oh, I'm someone who draws. But then I was doing therapy, and the therapist noticed that as I was talking, I was doodling a lot, or like, I would be like not looking at her, but like talking while doodling. And then at the event, I spent most of the time in the art barn just
Mm,
drawing.
mm-hmm.
And so then when I got back, my friend got me like well, I thought he bought it, but he actually took it from his grandma. But it's a anti-stress coloring book.
Mm.
And so then I've just kind of been doing that a lot.
When did you discover that was the type of aftercare that you need? Like, what do you feel after or while you're doodling?
I guess that I'm completing something because it's a lot of patterns.
Mm,
So I guess the idea that I'm finishing it, that it's
mm-hmm,
like okay, I colored in all the places, it's done, and yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure. It's very new, but I think just like a zone out,
mm-hmm,
maybe. I used to call it wall time, which is where you just stare at a wall.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so I think everybody has a job, right? So what would you think if like I said, I'm not somebody who likes to protest out on the street. I am not. But I like to organize, and I like to make sure everybody gets from A to B, right? So say like you went out to do the No Kings protest tomorrow, right? And then you knew I was not going to be there, but I was setting up a recovery area in X place, right? Where you could literally go there right after, get some water, get a sandwich, freaking, and doodle to try to relieve yourself from
Right.
the trauma that you were just in. Because
Right.
whether you're doing the action or not, it's still a traumatic experience. It's still something your body and your mind is going to remember forever. Whether you get dementia or not, your body's going to remember that trauma. And so that's why I always say everybody has a job. Somebody might not be out on the streets, but maybe they're making the phone calls. Maybe they're making sure people like you are still healthy so you can go back out and do what you chose to do in the fight, And so I think all sides are important, and I think all sides need to be recognized as just as important as the other,
I love that.
Yeah, thank you. And self-care is the most prominent thing that anybody needs.
I mean, how are you showing up? What do you think right now?
Me is really working on that self-care aspect. I'm gonna be extremely honest with you. I'm really drained. I'm really, 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 really drained. And so I'm still working on the social empowerment. What I'm doing in my immediate circle, my local circle right now, is I'm teaching them how to build their own communities within the things that they enjoy. Like, for instance, some of the guys like to shoot guns. I'm not a gun guy, but I can sure put on an event for one. So one of my mentees, he just did his first event, like teaching guys how to shoot guns. And so I was telling them that you have to have this, this, and this to have a successful event. And so I am very drained, but I'm still able to pour into other people by teaching them how to create. And so actually this weekend or tomorrow, I'm hosting a workshop with another guy on how to build communities. And so that's how I'm showing up right now, because my cup is so empty. But I feel like if I take myself away, that I'm going to be taking a resource away from people that need it. And so I can't drain myself, but I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that everybody's okay.
That's really important to know. And I think what struck me about your work was the aspect of being more, it's not even behind the scenes, but looking at things from a very specific angle and saying, okay, this is a specific problem. Trans men don't want to go to the doctor. I even was going to ask this, but you filled in the blanks of like a whole care team, right? Like, okay, your reproductive health doctor knows your psychiatrist, knows your neurologist, knows et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, And so when you spoke about trans men not going to the doctor and then that sort of tying into depression and suicide, it suddenly made sense to me why all of that would be connected. Whereas, like, I think sometimes there's a frustration with people or a helplessness in what to do at this time, what activism to do, looking at it very overarchingly. And I like the idea that you went, okay, this is a granular issue. They're not going to the doctor, so they're probably going to get more sick or more chronically ill. That's going to affect mental health. And I think that should be inspiring to people, because it's a helplessness that overwhelm wants to cause in us. And there's more that you could do if you just look granularly at what do people in your community need. You asking, what do you guys think is important? Them saying reproductive health. Okay, what specifically about that experience is not good for you? Was that a big part of it?
Definitely. And I just want to put out there that there is self-swab, the traditional reproductive check anymore. I don't know if all doctors offer that, but that is an option. And just letting people know that their appointment is literally their appointment. The doctor is not there to tell you to do something. It's literally for you to tell them what's wrong and for them to give their opinion. You're in total control of your appointment. And that's so important to say, because a lot of people go into these doctor's offices and feel like they're waiting on the doctor to tell them something, or if the doctor says something that's displeasing or that they just don't want to do, that they have to do it, especially if they're in reproductive care and you already got that stupid gown
Right?
on and your
Right?
doctor's saying we're going to do this and you're like, I'm not comfortable with that. And that's okay to
Mhm.
say, but that has to be said out loud so people know that that's an option.
I know it's hard because the doctor is in a position of power, it seems, but it's the flop of you should be in the position of power, not the
Should,
doctor.
you are. You are in a position of power because
Mm.
you can walk out of there and that's your appointment. You can end it when you want. And yes, they only have 10, 15 minutes to spend with you, but that 10, 15 minutes is yours. You bought it with your insurance, with your Medicaid, whatever. That is yours. So it's not should. You're actually empowered and should be empowered in that situation.
I guess my whole thing is like, they're going to be so mean to me.
Right. And you know what you do? You know what you do? You write that down. You get that doctor's name and you put it in our network. Just put it in the network so we know that not to go there. And
Yeah.
that's empowering. Your experience doesn't have to be somebody else's, you know?
Right. If you go through something bad like that, you're like, okay, at least I can provide this as a service to someone else.
Exactly. You can say, hey, this doctor's not good for us and this is why. And it's just putting that out there to get that foundation, right? And so like say you went through that experience and you have nobody to talk to, that's depressing and that can lead to XYZ. And I don't have to say it a million times, but you know what I'm talking about. And
Yeah.
flip it. You had a bad experience with a doctor. You have a bunch of brothers that you can talk to and be like, oh my gosh, you guys, guess what happened here? And then it turns into a joke because we all been through it. And so that's the foundation point that I keep on wanting to stress about creating a community, being in community and sharing your experience, whether it's embarrassed or not. I'm pretty sure you're not the only person that is happened to.
What's also funny is the amount of doctors who do gender affirming care but seem to know nothing about trans people.
Yeah.
Like the amount
Yeah.
of top surgery, amount of top surgery surgeons that I went to that were just like so like they do top surgery. That's their thing. And they were just like so unaware of like just like misgendering and like
Yes.
talking about stuff as if I wasn't there. And just like it was like mind blowing because I felt, well, I only have a specific amount of surgeons I can go to. So whatever, this guy's good at what he does. Let me just swallow his behavior. Like, what is up with that?
Exactly. And like I said, that's why it's important to have that network there. So like with doctors like that, they just see a body, right? They're like, okay, this is the body, cut the body, fix the body. It's a good body after that. But having someone who already has vetted this doctor or had encounters with this doctor that you know personally, right? Because you can read a million bad reviews on somebody on the internet, but say you have another trans man that went through that experience, documented that experience, and put it out into the network. You could talk to them personally, like, "Hey, bro, what happened?" Like, because this is the only guy in my state, so I want to go to him because I want my surgery right away. What was your true experience? And just creating that network of trust. And I just want to say it over and over again. Foundation. You know, because me and you didn't get too much time to chat, you know, at the event or anything like that. But just because we was in that type of space, we have to be a certain type of person to be in that type of space, you know?
Right.
And so I felt comfortable talking to you and saying, hey, this is what I do. If you know anybody that can do this service, I would trust your judgment because how we have interacted. Another thing is that I also partnered with a virtual platform called Plume, so people can get access to that at a discounted rate, which is already really affordable, but it's a discounted rate on top of that. And that's my reach to be more national at the time. Until I can get with other guys in other states that can be more hands-on. But like I said, also I'm very, very tired and trying to keep my energy up with the current things that are happening in my own personal life.
Well, you're training other people in the area to do stuff, like you said, and to create events and networks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so interesting is there, there's a lot more coverage medically of this type of stuff in health insurance. But is there like a way that people can talk to each other about, like, if they're not insured and who to go to and like stuff like that? Are people sharing like this, pricing and different tips and tricks?
The thing that the beautiful thing about vetting these doctors is that they become family and they would just tell you. Or
Yeah.
to be really honest, I had one provider I was working with for 8 months, and we got so friendly that one of the guys, I didn't know him, but he was in Vegas, was in crisis, and she just took care of him.
Oh.
She just took care of him. Like, and it's strictly off of the relationship that we was able to build.
Yeah.
And I have another doctor that catches babies and wants to learn more about seahorse dads. And so, like, there's a lot of doctors that provide gender affirming care that are allies. I hate that
Mhm.
word. But they just never met a trans man. And so my focus right now is them, the people that want to learn, not the people that need to be taught, because that's just a waste of time at this point.
I see that. Mhm.
My focus on the people that want to learn but just has never had the opportunity, and their language is going to be tore up and they're going to say all kinds of crazy stuff, but they need those interactions to get it right when they are in the presence of another man.
That's very generous of you to offer, especially if it's, you're dealing with little microaggressions or possibly aggressions in the process of vetting these people.
I like it.
That's insane.
I like it. I like it. I
'Cause
like
you're like,
it.
and it's an opportunity.
Give it to me. Give it to me because I can handle it. I'd rather me have that interaction because I've been through it so many times that it's just like, oh, okay, check. It's just it doesn't even. I don't even check. You're done. Case closed. Moving on to the next doctor, because there are so many doctors that want to help. They just never learned before or never interacted before, and so I'd rather have that pressure on me right now in my life versus the trans man that's on his last leg, like, oh my gosh, I had a crazy night and I need to get checked, but I'm scared because I don't even usually engage in this way. And I never, maybe I just wanted to try something and now something's wrong, something's broken, and they wait it out. They go to Walgreens and try to get stuff and it's not working. And now they have to find a random doctor to go look when you don't even deal with that stuff. Look, I'm freaking out right now because those experiences are so real and they're so scary. And so the most extreme usually is the reproductive part. But I mean, there's other parts like where, say, you don't have top surgery and your rib is bruised. Oh my God. I gotta take off the bustier. I don't know. I like to call binders a bustier. It's a inside joke that I have, but I'm like, I gotta take off the bustier and show them this. And I've been having this binder on for 1 month. I just started wearing it, so I don't even know I don't like my body right now. There's so many scenarios that we go through that if it would help so much if I wasn't the first person you ever seen.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's the goal.
Life has unexpected twists, and pregnancy is one of them. People in all states are getting abortion pills in advance to have at home in case of future need. Visit PlanCpills.org to learn more. That's PlanCpills.org.
I like the idea of normalizing and of having a community where you can go, this thing happened to me, it's so annoying, and then people can be like, yeah, that's annoying. It takes the seriousness off some of it. Makes it create connection versus isolation. It is like interesting that you went from not knowing about other trans people to being incredibly passionate about everyone knowing each other.
Oh my God, the amount of times I reintroduce people to people is crazy.
Yeah, you're just like, everyone meet.
Yeah, pick your person, find your tribe. Just because they're two trans men doesn't mean they're always going to vibe. But if there's so many around, pick another one. Just go have fun. Well, in Vegas they call me Asher, like Pokemon. I gotta catch them all. Because I what I do is I find trans men and then I put them in their community. I do one-on-ones with them. I get to know their real personality. We go for coffee, go for breakfast, lunch, dinner. And then I will set them up with their people that I think they'll vibe with. I'm also a super host. I love hosting things. And so it just all falls into the same thing. And I just told myself I'm going to keep doing this until it's not fun anymore. Because this is fun for me. I like figuring out the strategic ways to get things going or to get things happening and stuff like that. Like, I'm definitely a dreamer, and I like to see those dreams come to life. And when I see happy trans men, that's the whole dream. That's the whole dream.
I love that. And I think, building an army to be able to understand that doctors actually serve us would definitely make me not sweat in the moment when a doctor literally says to my face, what do you want me to do?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, do you deal in ERs and urgent cares too?
I haven't been to that sector. No, I don't want to pretend that I have, but I have not.
Yeah.
But the doctors I deal with have been in ERs and stuff like that. But no, I actually haven't. And to be honest, I never even thought about messing with the ER people.
Well, because you go in and you have to explain, like, especially if you're stealth and you go to the ER for something to do with reproduction and reproductive parts and Alex, who I was at camp with.
I'm terrible at names and faces. Like, unless it's a crazy story that goes to it, I don't ever remember.
I was almost about to be like the little guy but like that's everyone. Usually I'm like the little guy that's with me, and everyone's like, okay. Funny. But he passes, quote unquote. And so he has a thing where it's almost like, why are you here? Or there's kind of like, are you waiting for someone? Or, and that's like a whole awkward conversation too, because you have to just.
It is. Yep.
So
what if there was a world? If this is my dream, right? What if there was a world where there were doctors that you knew in every sector, and you knew something was wrong, and you was able to make an appointment with that doctor that loves you like an auntie, so you don't have to go to the ER because it's last minute, or you can't prevent everything,
Right.
But say like it is reproductive, and you usually go to the ER because it's your last leg. Let's be honest. You've been waiting. And now stuff is starting to drop out of stuff. So what if there was a world where you knew a doctor so well that you can just set up that appointment with them, and they'll get you an ASAP because they know your personality, they know who you are, and you don't have to deal with the ER for reproductive things. That's the worst place to go.
Oh, I know. It's the town doctor. It's just like bringing back the history, the like small town doctor.
Yeah, but you have a bunch of them that just love you.
You have a bunch of them.
That just love you. Or if they don't love you, they love me. And they're like, oh, you're Kalvin's. Okay, come on.
I love that.
Yeah, I love trans men. And I love seeing happy trans men. I don't know why that really is like something that I need to see in my brain, but I just love.
Because you never saw it.
Oh, that's so good.
Because you never saw it. You didn't even know it was existed.
That is so good. You're right.
You watched a guy shadow box and went, that's me.
You're right. And he wasn't happy while he was doing it,
He was one of those guys who's like very buff. And
yeah, exactly that. And to this day, I still try to look for them on YouTube or anywhere in the world and can't find them.
Wow. He did his job, and then he went off like a... He's like, that show Touched by an Angel? It's like that.
He's gone. Yeah.
Well, how can people support you? Where can people find you? And how can people, I know trans men will find you. How can other people like support you and find your work?
Everybody's more than welcome to always add me on Instagram. And like I said, I'm a dreamer. And so a long time ago, I picked my name as King's Paradise because I always said, one day I'm going to grow up and I'm going to make my own paradise. And so what's crazy is that my life has, wouldn't even have to go into all that, but my life is beyond what I thought it was going to be. And having a community of trans men that I genuinely love was never a part of the dream, but it was just something that happened. And so it's a bigger paradise. But anyways, King's Paradise.
Oh, no, that's great.
King's Paradise. So KINGZZ_paradise. And then my nonprofit is Uncloak. So it's _UNCLOAK_. And so
Nice.
you can find me in those two places. You said support. I highly recommend to find another leader and make sure that they're supported, because right now people are dropping left and right out of advocacy because there's no support. Me, how you can support me specifically is literally by taking care of yourself, because you're needed. And if you're taking care of yourself, I don't have to do it. And so, so I'm not asking for anything. I literally just want people to be aware that that doctor's office is their choice, to create a foundation for yourself and your community, and find a leader and help them keep up the good work, basically.
This is why it was so hard for me to be in community with other trans guys, because I have such a weird aversion to vulnerability. And you asking me how are you showing up today, my whole body, I was because I'm just I'm no, not me, don't meh. And then there is such a love and openness that I really had to get used to. It's relaxing into it. The sincerity that goes along with it, that I think probably inherently occurs because we did have to do a lot of soul searching to get where we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm loosening up in that regard. And so I appreciate people like you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
1,000 Natural Shocks, a Bad with Money podcast, is a production of Noted Bisexual, produced by Melisa D. Monts and Diamond MPrint Productions, edited by Diane Kang, post-production sound by Coco Lorenz, and music by Zach Sherwin as sung by Sam Barbera. Thank you, love you, bye!